live, Steve.
Sweet. Are we actually going?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Hey guys, it's Steve for Collector Mania. I'm here doing my Rakdos Lord of Riots deck tech. This is another part of our 32 series. We're getting into the ally dual color pairs, so this is, I believe, the third one we've done. So anyway, let's jump into the deck here. We've got, of course, our commander. This is Rakdos, Lord of Riots, as we've already said. It's really cool. I like him a lot. I know I've talked to a few people about it because they've seen me playing the deck and they've wanted to try it themselves. It can be a little bit tricky getting him out because you do have to deal damage to somebody or loss of life to somebody in order to play him, essentially. But as you'll see throughout the deck, there's a lot of ways to do that built in here already. The big payoff for that, of course, is he's a 6/6 flying trampler, which is a lot for 4 mana. Also, he has the secondary ability of making his creature spells cost way, way less. For basically every point of damage your opponents receive during your turn, your creatures cost that much colorless less. So it's almost like a weird Animar in a way. So anyway, that is Rakdos. But let's get into what makes Rakdos run really well. So I've got a few kind of creatures that have like some evasion and maybe some good skills. So we've got a Glint Sleeve Siphoner. This is a newer card. I really, really like it. First of all, for the menace, which makes it a little harder to block. And early game, all you're trying to do is deal maybe just 1 point of damage just to get Rakdos out. But the other part of it is it's kind of like a weird Phyrexian Arena that you have to pay energy for. And she has a way to build up energy on herself, which is really nice. She comes out with 1, and then whenever she deals combat damage, she gains another. So if you think about it, every 2 turns or so, you're drawing a card with her. So, pretty cool card. And then we've got Grenzo Dungeon Warden. This guy's great for, that surprise grab of a creature off the bottom of your library. He works really well with filling your graveyard up as well. This is kind of a reanimator deck in a way. It's got a few reanimation spells in it. Not too many, but it can work with it. And Grenzo's just kind of cool. Especially being able to pay, the X as the colorless mana. He can come out as a 10/10 and you can just cast any creature off the bottom of your library. So that's Grenzo. And then we've got the other Grenzo, because, more Grenzo, more beta. This guy, I don't know. I have him in my 1v1 deck. I have him in a few other decks. He is ridiculous. Being able to cast your opponent's spells is the main thing with him. Plus, this deck is obviously looking to do combat damage anyway, so what else can you ask for here? And then we've got another kind of evasion creature named Kari Zev. She's got Menace as well, and First Strike, and she creates another attacker when she, swings. So, once again, a bunch of things that you're looking for, just in order to get a little bit of damage through in order to cast Rakdos. And then we've got a Thermal Alchemist, kind of a pinger. He's just a 0/3 defender most of the time. There's really not enough instants and sorceries in here to really make him work the way most people would like him to, but for our purposes, he does exactly what we need. He just does that 1 point of damage, gets Rakdos out. And here's a little bit of that reanimation I was kind of talking about. We've got a Felden of the Third Path. This guy is amazing. More people should run him. I know I've seen 2 or 3 people run him as a commander himself, which, I've considered it. He's really cool. Just build like a mono-red reanimator deck. Could work great. Then we've got a Jaya Ballard, just another way to deal damage. Plus she has a few bigger abilities later on, being able to, let's see, deal 6 damage to each creature and each player. That's pretty big, so a little bit of a board wipe there. Then we've got another kind of pinger, Lobber Crew. This one's kind of funny. I always just kind of picture these goblins like tossing other goblins into the, the catapult and throwing them over the, wall or something like that. It's just a funny card. I kind of tried to have a little bit of fun with this deck, a little tongue-in-cheek things going on here. And then we've got a Magus of the Will, another one of those reanimator kind of effects. Pretty cool card. I've yet to actually use it, so it's never actually come up. I have it in several decks. I'm just kind of waiting for that day that this card is amazing, which I'm sure it will be. So, and then we've got a Sen Prodder. This guy is ridiculous in here. Your opponents are kind of put into a corner. Do they let you reveal the top card and take a bunch of damage and then let you cast your creature spells cheaper, or do they let you draw the card? So it's kind of, this guy can definitely help you a lot in your strategy. Plus he's got Menace himself, so he's a little harder to block. Then we've got a Vial Smasher, of course. Your first spell deals the damage that you need, and then you can just cast whatever creature spell you want to after that. I guess a thing to kind of keep in mind is that it is each opponent. So if you have a spell that deals 3 damage to each opponent, your creatures now cost 9 colorless less. So keep that in mind. And then we've got a Falconwrath Aristocrat. Just a great sack outlet, plus a really good attacker. She makes herself indestructible. All kinds of good stuff. So. And then we've got one of the breakout cards for this deck, in my opinion, Gonti. This guy in here is ridiculous, especially with the few reanimation effects that are in here. The more and more I play with this card, the more and more I just fall in love with it. It's another one of those kind of effects that just kind of expand your own library by being able to use other people's decks. Kind of add some things to what you're doing. We've got a Hellrider. This guy can win you the game, of course. Get enough attackers out there, and he will just seal the deal for you. Then we've got a little bit of card draw and Mad Prophet, or card loot, I guess you'd call it. The thing that I really like about him is that he has haste. With Rakdos, you can usually just cast him for 1 and then just pitch a land and draw a card or whatever. And plus, if you need him to swing, he comes out and swinging. So, pretty cool card. And then we've got our god in the deck, and that's Mogis, God of Slaughter. He's there to kind of clean people up. After you've done damage early game and stuff like that, it's just a nice tax effect to have hanging out there, to deal with extra things, like people that are running a low life totals and have big threats, stuff like that. Pretty cool card, though. Plus a pretty big, attacker if you get him to become a god. And then we've got our, kind of like our Haster, which is Ogre Battle Driver. This guy gets those giant Eldrazi's out with haste, when you can cast them for practically nothing. So, pretty cool card in this deck for sure. And then we've got War Chief Giant. I talked about Myriad several times. I love the ability. It's really cool. Creating tokens is always good. And just swing at the guy that doesn't have the blockers, then the other 2 players have to deal with the 5/5s coming at them regardless. And you don't care if they block them and kill them because they're tokens. They're going away anyway. And then we've got a little bit of, I guess, Threaten effect, which with Zell's Conscript, being able to take somebody's creature and then swing with it back at them. Pretty cool card. Plus has haste. Another one of those reanimation factors, Champion of Stray Souls. It's a pretty cool card. I've used it several times. It actually works better than you think it would. Just sacrificing your early Lobber Crew or something like that to get back something that's really important. Another one of my favorite cards from Kaladesh, we've got Combustible Gear Hulk. Awesome card. It's ridiculous. It's almost exactly the same as the Sen Prodder. Your opponent has to deal with you either being able to cast your Eldrazi's for 0 or letting you draw 3 cards. So I kind of like, in these kind of decks, making my opponents make those tough choices. And then we've got a Deathbringer Thoughtcar. I had a friend years ago that played this card like a mad genius. He would always kill us with it somehow. So, I put it in here, realizing that it's pretty powerful for what it does. Just being able to ping things for 1, and, whenever one of your creatures die, you just put a +1. I think it's anybody's creatures. Whenever another creature's put into the graveyard from play. That could be a lot. I mean, with some of the spells you'll see in here, that could be a lot of +1/+1 counters. You can just finish somebody off. So, that's Deathbringer Thoughtcar. Then we've got a Conduit of Ruin. Got to be able to search up some of those big monsters that we have. Plus, he makes your creature spells cost even more, less. So, I guess that's the wrong way to say that, but whatever. And then we've got a giant flying 5/5 in Defiler of Souls. This guy is kind of like Mogis, a little bit of a late game kind of cleanup kind of creature. The fact that it's a flyer helps a lot, but the other part of it is having them sacrifice a monocolored creature at the beginning of their upkeep is, really oppressive sometimes, especially if you're playing against a bunch of monocolored decks. That could be, pretty brutal. And then we've got a little bit of mana ramp here in Oblivion Sower. I know it's kind of late on 6, but you know, you've seen what the deck does. Usually you can cast this guy at least on turn 5. But still a pretty cool card, 5/8, you know, not a bad body, but you know, grabbing other people's mana is never a bad thing either. Plus exiling threats in the process. And I've got a Skyline Despot, just a good dragon. Usually if you get the crown, you're probably going to keep the crown, because you're going to continue to do damage, you know, pretty much every turn, so you're probably going to be the monarch for most of the game. Plus he will help you keep the monarchy by creating those 5/5 dragon tokens, so as long as you can keep it for one turn, you're usually pretty set. And then we've got kind of a gotcha card here in Stalking Vengeance. If somebody board wipes your giant massive creatures, you're probably going to kill them. You know, just start throwing that damage at whoever casts that Wrath of God, because you know, that messed up your plan and you're not happy about it. And here's another reanimated card. We've got Artisan of Kozilek. Doesn't hurt that it has Annihilator 2, tied to a 10/9 body. So, plus you can usually cast this for nothing, so Artisan of Kozilek, pretty cool. Then we've got one of the best control cards to come out of this set, in my opinion, in Void Winnower. The fact that this does not affect you is ridiculous to me. Usually when they do effects like this, it affects each player, but this one only affects your opponents, and it can shut down a lot of stuff. I know that we talk about the infamous Cyclonic Rift, you know, on this channel. We've said it a million times. This stops that, which is insane. You know, people don't even realize it because they're just like, well, I overload it for 7, but the converted mana cost is 2. So it's just like, So, get this card, Void Winnower. I think it's one of those spec cards in my opinion. And then we've got Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, you know, one of our big finishers. This guy with Ogre Battle Driver is just insane. You do not want to see that on the other side of the board. The big thing with him is the removal of the 2 permanents when he comes in. That's mainly, you know, I guess the big thing with him. But I guess the secondary effect of being able to mill your opponents out with exile is ridiculous, especially if you get a good few swings and, you know, at somebody that's running low on their library. That can finish them off. People usually aren't happy with you either. Then we've got an It that Betrays. I think I may switch this guy out at some time or at some point. He's kind of in there just kind of secondarily. He's okay. He's pretty cool. But eventually he might turn into something else. Okay. And after that, we've got an Emrakul, the Promised End. This is our giant monster in the sky. You know, a 13/13. The effect, take your opponent's turn, is really cool. Being able to kind of mess up their plans, you know, whatever they're trying to do is awesome. Once again, with Rakdos' effect, usually you can cast this guy, you know, pretty early, a lot earlier than you should be. I remember one game in particular that I was playing with this deck. I think I had Ulamog and Emrakul out at one point, and that is just ridiculous. Like, how do you come back from that? And you know what? I still lost that game, surprisingly. I don't know how, but I lost that game. It was weird, but I had the board for a very long time. I think it's because I came out a little bit early on that one, and was the obvious threat, had the other 3 opponents team up on me. So anyway, that's creatures. And let's jump into our planeswalkers here. We've got 2 pretty cool ones. We've got Obnixilis of the Black Oath. This guy does exactly what you want to on its +2 already. So he makes Rakdos come out. He makes all of your creature spells 3 cheaper automatically. The -2 isn't bad, you know, when you need a flying blocker, and then his ultimate is ridiculous. That's what you want to do. You want to be able to sacrifice creatures and draw cards. That's a huge thing with him. And then we've got Chandra Flamecaller. This is mainly in here for the wheel effect, but creating the 2/3 ones isn't bad either. Lets us do a little bit of damage, lets us, you know, cast our creature spells for cheap, and then the -X is, I mean, I don't think I've ever used it, but it's still pretty cool. I guess you could deal everything 4 if you need a smaller board wipe. Okay, and I believe we're going on to our artifacts here. We've got to have that reshuffle effect and Elixir of Immortality, you know, just kind of a staple that you should have in every deck. That might actually be what It that Betrays turns into. It might become a Kozilek, so I can take this out. And then we've got a Lightning Greaves. Of course, you got to protect your big threats and Rakdos. A little bit of mana ramp. We've got a Rakdos Signet. And these newer cards in here that I just kind of put in here before I even did the tapped out deck tech on this. We've got Bantu's Monument. This again does exactly what you want it to do. Everybody loses a life and you gain 1 life, but once again through that process all of your creatures cost 3 colorless less. Plus the black creatures costing 1 less can help you sometimes. Most of the time, our big threats are usually colorless, but this will definitely help. And then we've got a Command Sphere. This card, or Commander Sphere. This card should probably be in every Commander deck. It's another one of those like Command Towers or Soul Rings. It's just a good colorless artifact that makes mana that you can sacrifice to draw a card. It's insanely good. Okay, and then we've got a double face card here. We've got a Cryptolith or Fragment. It taps and each player loses 1 life, so that means once again you're getting that reduction clause. And then if an opponent has 10 or less life, it actually transforms. And then it turns into another Eldrazi, a hidden Eldrazi. It's got Flying Death Touch, and whenever it attacks, each opponent loses 3 life. So that's 9 mana less on all your creatures then. Yeah, it's not very strong, but I mean that could be the one time you just need to cast Emrakul from your hand. Just swing with this, and then all of a sudden you can just cast it. Pretty cool. Flip cards, though, they're kind of tricky, especially with these red sleeves. I need to get a smoky sleeve back for that one because I just realized that. But anyway, now we're moving on to our next monument. We've got Hazardous Monument, red creature spell reduction, and then we've got kind of like a wheel effect again, or well, not a big wheel, but a loot effect, I guess. Pretty cool card. Another new card from the Amonkhet set. Okay, and then we've got a sacrifice kind of draw engine. Like I said, there's a few threaten effects in here. So this can definitely help when you grab somebody's creature that you don't want sticking around, so you can just sacrifice it, after you grab it with Zealous Conscripts and then draw a card. And then if you're, needing a card draw late game, this works pretty good too. Okay, and then we've got Rakdos Keyrune. A good mana rock, but also just a good attacker if you need it to be. A 3/1 first strike is usually pretty good. Okay, with that we're moving on to our enchantments here. We've got, of course, a Phyrexian Arena. Card draw is key. Then we've got a Retreat to Hagra. Just a good way to once again reduce your creature spells. Plus, if you need it to, you can give something Death Touch just to get through. Then we've got a Rite of the Raging Storm. This card's a lot of fun to play because it makes your opponents kind of attack each other. Usually somebody gets mad at somebody else and all of a sudden they're just swinging at each other now because they attacked them with the 5/5 or 5/1 elemental that you gave them. Plus they can't attack you, so it's really nice. I think you're noticing a theme here. Damage. And then we've got Altar's Reap, another way to kind of sacrifice the things that we've taken or just sacrifice a creature that we no longer need. Pretty cool card. I got a foil. It's nice. And then we've got a little bit of removal. We've got a Doomblade. It's not the most efficient because I know I've run into a few situations where it's just like, wow, that's a black-white creature that I really want to kill, and I can't. So, I don't know, it may come out for something else at some point, but it works for now. Rakdos Charm, really cool card. Of course, it does a lot of things that you want it to do. The really big one is each creature deals 1 damage to its controller. I can definitely see a lot of situations where you can just win the game with this. Somebody plays their Avenger Zendikar and blinks it 3 times, and then you're just like, okay, I'll just kill you. Pretty cool card. Plus the graveyard, exile isn't bad either. And then we've got a Wake the Dead. Really nice trick most of the time, just being able to reanimate a bunch of creatures at instant speed and then block with them. They're going to die anyway, so it doesn't matter, but usually you're looking for like the ETB effects on this card. I know that I've had several instances where people have been swinging out at me and I've just used this to reanimate, I don't know, ridiculous things and just block and just be totally fine. And then we've got a little bit better removal in Murder, just destroy target creature straight up. I think one day this, once again, might become something a little bit better, but murder works just fine most of the time. Maybe a hero's downfall or something like that. That way you can get rid of planeswalkers. Then we've got a Fateful Showdown. This is a great wheel effect, plus it deals damage at the same time. So if you've got a handful of lands and you've got plenty of mana, because usually this deck doesn't need a whole lot, just wheel your hand, deal a bunch of damage, and then cast whatever you want. Cool card. Here's another one of those kind of threatened effects with Word of Seizing. Well, this one will take anything. Like if somebody's about to ultimate a planeswalker, you just grab it and you ultimate it. Why not? So that's Word of Seizing, plus Split Second. Can't even be responded to. And then another one of my favorite cycles that we've talked about a few times on the channel is the Confluence cycle. Wretched Confluence is probably my second or third favorite, card of this whole cycle. It's ridiculously good. You can either, draw a bunch of cards, you can kill something. I've killed Shieldred with this multiple times, because, as soon as Shieldred hits the table, it's a problem. So using this to kill that always works. Plus, you can put a creature from your graveyard into your hand, too, so that's not bad. If you're in a pinch, that'll work. Okay, and then we're on to Curtain's Call. This card is great. I really like it. It's kind of surprising how good it actually is. I was actually playing this deck in a 5-player game, and that made this cost 2, which is pretty ridiculous. Pretty cool card. It fits in Rakdos too, because the colorless less. I don't know. I just thought it was on theme there. Okay, and I think we're into our sorceries now. We've got a Vandal Blast. Really good, for controlling those artifact decks that are getting out of control. Plus the Overload isn't bad at all. We've got another reanimation spell in Exhume. Downside is it reanimates your creature's opponents as well, but usually you can kind of curve that to be okay. I've got a Night's Whisper, a little bit of card draw. And then Live Fast. There used to be a lot of energy cards in here. Right now it's only this card and the Glint Sleeve Siphoner. But I have used those in tandem before, and they do work. They work just fine. So I don't know. I keep it in because really, it's an okay card. We've got Beacon of Unrest, another reanimation spell. We've got Chandra's Ignition. This card is a house in this deck. Usually you play it once you get Rakdos out, and then everything takes 6. That's pretty good. It's not bad at all. That and, just thinking about your giant creatures, everything could take 13 if you wanted it to. That's pretty good. So, Chandra's Ignition. Then we've got Torn of Souls. Probably my favorite reanimation spell in this color pair, because it gives the creature haste, plus it gives it a power buff. So, what more can you ask for, really? Plus it's hybrid matter, so you can cast it off either side if you're running low on one color. Our one really big board wipe in the deck is Blasphemous Act. It's not the best. I'd rather have Damnation or something like that, but I can't afford Damnation for each and every deck I have, so here we are with kind of a budget option here. It's not bad at all, but sometimes damage isn't what you're looking for. Okay, with that I believe we're getting into our lands here. We've got a Bloodfell Caves, just a little bit of a dual land that gains you 1 life. It works. A Cinder Barrens, just a Guild Gate, basically. It's not a worse, it's just a Guild Gate. They've got Graven Karens, really nice card. I like these. Usually with the filter lands, I try not to run them in like tricolor decks or quad, mainly just up to 2 color, because most of the time when I've played them in like tricolor decks or higher, I've found that it actually screws me up most of the time. It's kind of funny because you think that they're called filtered lands, you'd think they'd be there to fix your mana as good as they can, but it doesn't work out as good as you would think it would. Rakdos Guildgate. Then we've got Shadowblood Ridge. This card was reprinted in the Commander product that came out last year, I believe. Really cool cycle. I wish they would have done the whole thing once again. It's awesome artwork, everything about it I like. It's another one of those cards that I wouldn't run it in a tricolor deck. I'd stick to dual color at most with this because it definitely can screw you. Well, yeah, it can screw you up just because it can only produce those 2 colors. So, cool card though. Then we've got a Shivan Gorge. a way to kind of just deal damage to everybody on a land, you know, instead of a creature spell or anything else. Pretty cool. Kind of a sneaky one. And I believe the rest are mountains and swamps, and I believe there are 15 of each, something like that. But with that, that is the deck tech. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you check out the rest of our 32 series, and we'll see you next time.